French Montana. He's one of the most hated rappers in the game, without a doubt. Some people dislike his voice, his ad-libs, his social media presence. They probably even dislike the way he looks, or they hate how he has so many features, or they may feel that he just can't rap in general. But despite these criticisms, French Montana did have an impact on the New York rap scene in the late 2000s and early 2010s, whether it was his Cocaine City DVDs, his solid mixtape run, or collaborations with Max B and Chinx Drugs. French has contributed to the culture over the years. And whether you like him or not, he knows how to make bangers, and the production that he raps over is mostly good, especially when it's provided by Dame Grease or Harry Fraud. So I haven't listened to the last few French Montana projects, to be completely honest. I just had no desire to, but I was intrigued to check out this new one, Montega, because it was produced entirely by Harry Fraud, who has been a go-to producer for French since the early days. And you could even argue that French helped put Harry Fraud on the map. Harry Fraud is one of the most consistent producers in the game, so I had a feeling that he wouldn't drop the ball here. And this project contains 12 songs and lasts approximately 38 minutes. But with that being said, let me go ahead and just hit y'all with this track-by-track breakdown. This opens with Blue Chills, which has a sample-based atmospheric beat. French mentions being depressed since Chinx is gone and Max B is locked. He talks about surviving an attempt on his life years ago. The greatest threat is always from the inside. Yes, sir, they put staples in my head, bitch. Yeah, they tried. So this shows that French Montana is a fighter. And his line about the greatest threat always coming from the inside made me think of a classic Cormega line. Trust is a luxury I can't afford. Because in a lot of shootings involving rappers, and this doesn't even have to be limited to hip hop, but it's mostly someone who you know, who is close enough to you to know your movements and to get close enough to be able to touch you. It's really chilling to think about it. You know, who in your inner circle could be the person that could ultimately betray you. Track 2, Rushmore Pack, has a signature Harry Fraud soul beat. The soulful chops are pretty angelic. But this title, Rushmore Pack, is a bit much coming from French. I like the confidence, but respectfully, French, you are not smoking on anyone's Mount Rushmore. I couldn't even process French being on someone's Mount Rushmore. Now on this record, he is talking his talk, mentioning his achievements, and also handing out some game, like be careful who you trust, salt and sugar look the same, and never do a deal while you're desperate. It's all practical, good advice. The following song, Drive By, has more of a melodic soundscape on the hook. French sprinkles in some auto-tune that I found to be a little unnecessary. This features a verse from one of Detroit's most in-demand rappers, Babyface Ray. So while I dug this lush and atmospheric instrumental, and the verses were okay, I didn't find this track to be too stand out. It's not one that I would be in a rush to revisit. Right after is Keep It Real with CMG artist ESTG. This has a soothing, ethereal beat. I can't say it's one of my favorites, but I didn't find the hook to be as annoying as the previous song, and ESTG did his thing. The soul sample is pretty wavy too. Things stay on the smoother side with the following song, Kinda Girl, featuring Ricky Rose, which is set to a buttery smooth angelic soul sample. It's a luxurious backdrop that is ideal for their luxury rap, and the verse from Ross is pretty standard for his standards. I like this one sonically, although I did find the following French line to be pretty cringe. They call me Mr. Get Your Tummy Gone. Then there is Higher, that has a slick reggae vocal harmony, and the production has somewhat of a Heatmakers feel. On this one, French raps about his desires to keep leveling up and to go even higher. He raps, Motherland, South Bronx, what they gonna do to me? Doing business with an op is an opportunity. And this is a different perspective. It seems a little bit counterintuitive to do business with an op, but I guess it's better than gunplay. Track 7, Bricks and Bags, is a highlight. This has that 1970s Frank Lucas Heron era feel. It's high quality New York street rap. It's definitely a song that would have been a mixtape banger. So while I feel Benny and Jada had the best verses, French held his own. I did like when French said, "Never let nobody live in your mind for free. When you get tested, you get your answers." But it was Jadakiss who I feel really killed it, especially with bars like, "Yeah, they hit dudes with the Rico. The only drill he ever been on was from Home Depot. It's never your enemy. It's always your own people. Pride was the reason he died. No ego." Very chilling and vivid bars from Jada. The line about pride hit deep. And it made me think about the situation involving Nipsey's killer Eric Holder, how his pride was so hurt that he came back and started shooting. You hurt someone's pride, there's just no telling what they're gonna do. The subsequent song, Poetic with No Justice, is another strong one. We're getting some pretty grim, reality-based bars from French over a symphonic soul beat that samples a portion of Biggie's "You're Nobody Till Somebody Kills You." French raps, "I want the money and the respect, but until they kill you, you nobody," like Keith Sweat. I dug the following ones too. "Streets of New York, it get grimy, can't lie to you. Homie that set me up, the one that drove me to the hospital." That's deep. And "Chasing dollars, but the currency is time." And I thought that was another important jewel, because while money is very important, you do begin to realize that time is even more valuable. Track 9, Drop Top with Quavo, has a soulful trap beat. It's a serviceable record that I don't really have any feelings on either way. It's just kind of there, like background music. The production does save it from being trash though. The following, Shorty So Bad, is easily the weakest link on this project. While the lush and wavy beat is cool, the sing-songy auto-tune ruined it for me. The second to last song, Drunk Words, Sober Thoughts, is another high point on the album. It features a posthumous verse from Chinx Drugs, R.I.P. Chinx. I did like the dramatic pianos and boom bap drums. French had a perceptive line that stood out. "I had to learn emotions was the enemy of facts. Had to jump out my feelings. Ain't no money there. Curved potholes. Waiting for me was 100 years." Yeah, I had no complaints with this track, but I feel a Max B feature would have put it over the top. Then the album ends with Bronx Mecca, which has a ghostly vocal sample. The overall tone to the beat and French's lyrics was bleak. He states, "One time for Chinks in the Sky, yeah, they glorified rats," gave Max 75. As a whole, it was a solid closer that was instrumentally consistent with the opener. Overall, I give this project a rating of a strong 3 to 3.5 mics. Now, you may not value French Montana as a lyricist, but he was dropping some streetwise jewels that grabbed my attention. I'm not gonna hold you. He has some sharp and perceptive lines that one could learn a thing or two from, no doubt. And I would say that this project seemed a little more bar heavy than past French albums. I haven't heard all of his though, but it's just a feeling I got. I guess you could say it's a back to the basics kind of album for him. So if you do like the sounds found on the early Coke Wave or Coke Boys mixtapes, then you should likely enjoy what this project has to offer for the most part. Sure, it's missing Max B for obvious reasons, but Harry Fraud and French are able to rekindle some of their old magic on this project. From a production standpoint, Harry Fraud does not disappoint, although I do have a feeling that if Harry Fraud was not attached to this project, it wouldn't have been half as good. I realize that some folks are already going to have their minds made up about French Montana, but I thought this was a solid album and one of his better ones in a long time. My favorite tracks include Blue Chills, Rushmore Pack, Kinda Girl, Bricks and Bags, Poetic No Justice, and Drunk Words, Sober Thoughts. Let me know what you thought about this album in the comment section. It's your boy Mixtape Moth. I'm signing out, but be sure to hit that like button and please subscribe. As always, it's peace and blessings. French Montana, Montega, one.